Good evening, everybody. Great seeing you all of you, everybody. Seeing all of you. Oh, we can start. Okay, we can start. Not only is it 8 o'clock, but Arnaldo and Michelle are here. So why not? Here, hit the button. Love you guys. Oh my gosh, love you guys. So let's see. Samara, good to see you. I understand. Oh, my radio client in Dallas texted me that it was 106 there this afternoon. And I texted back a picture of our weather. It was 66, cloudy. And I said, I think you have the wrong number. Oh, boy. That's why I'm wanting to do this trip. See, Tanya, good to have you with us tonight. And Linda, mom and daughter. Awesome. Neighboring South Carolina. 95 in Michigan. Hot. But Melissa's been by the pool, so I'm sure she's been out to the pool today doing fun summer stuff. Melissa, if you guys didn't know, Melissa's a teacher, and she works hard, plays hard. I mean, she works really hard, and she's in a leadership position and just has an amazing positive influence on her class, her parents, and on her school, her district. But come summertime, she is in the play mode, and I mean, this girl makes tracks. It's fun to see. Oh, let's see. What? You have COVID? Hey, Kristen. Thanks for doing such an amazing job in Discord. Wow. Michelle, you have COVID. I am so sorry. And still hurting from her injury. All right, let's get these prayer requests for Mary. And we have a couple of others. So Robin Collins, one of our new members, also has one that I will mention here in just a bit. All right, let me just write these down from Mary, though. Scott and Sue and their daughter, Erica. Anorexia. Friend's grandmother grandmother in Iran. I'm glad you put these in. Oh my. She has COVID and unlikely she'll make it. Oh. Family can't go with her, and they may not be able to leave the country. Oh, wow. Wow. All right. Thank you for that. Robin's friend I have on a slide here, but she is a friend that Robin said that she had known for years, and she lives in Cyprus. And she has been diagnosed with MS after fighting Lyme's disease for years. So, these are painful things that we're talking about here. Yeah, Brittany, it does seem. Hi, Esmon. It does seem like everybody's getting COVID, and that's one of the things I wanted to talk about relative to the trip idea. And yet, I watched my daughter's worship service on, she works at a church, and I watched their worship service online this morning. And I mean, the place was packed and nobody was, just like, and I did order some to-go dinner last night, which is part of the story. We've got a really cool thing we're going to talk about tonight, but I ordered some dinner, and when I went into the restaurant to get it last night, I mean, wall to wall packed. So, we'll talk about that here in just a second. Okay, so speaking of, let me queue up here. So this is great. If you have other requests, by the way, please go ahead and drop them in, and we're going to mention them all here before we do our meditation. I have a fun thing that we're going to do tonight. I think this is going to really kind of be a technique that you can use like every day, anytime you want. is one of those things that you can pull out and just use it. So here is the deal. I was kind of laughing about this. I'm going to tell on myself. For years now, I mean, this has been in my mind or in my consciousness for years. Certainly the last 12 or 13 since I shifted everything, but it's been there. And I've had this vision periodically, and I thought it was a past life kind of thing. I thought this was something that happened ago, but I was a little miner, as in mining for gold, and living in a wood cabin. It was one room, but it had I had dug a hole in the floor or something, or put it on a shaft or something, but it went down and there was stuff down there. I don't know the full details, but it was like I could access a whole nother world down there. And that was where I lived my later years, was in this little mine, kind of doing my thing up on the side of a mountain in a very lush vegetated area. Where do I live? On the side of a mountain in a lush vegetative area. The only thing I don't have is the trap door, but there is a carpet thing here with bears on it, and I've never picked it up. So maybe there is a door underneath that thing. Oh my, whoosh, we'll have to see. So one of the goals of this, creating this family reunion, is obviously so that we can meet and greet. But another big reason, or another big benefit of it, was to share this incredible place. I mean, I've mentioned before, I have to rotate these out, but this slide that you're looking at was taken by Moa 3 or 4 weeks ago, about 25 minutes from here. So it is just this incredible setting, and it is cooler, for those of you who are in the heat. And some love it, and some have lakes and places to go play and pools and all of that. And then some, it kind of gets to be a grind by August and you're ready for a break. Well, we can go up to 6,000 feet and get at least that kind of a break. It's pretty nice up there. So that was the idea, is for us to get together, which I know we all would just love, and to share this wonderful place and just to connect and hang out. It's kind of Lord Jupiter in reverse, It's like what didn't work there, maybe, I don't know if it'll work here or not, but here's the challenge. What I'm sensing, I was feeling this kind of as our, okay, so we have a WhatsApp group. There are a few people in there, and I put the link in Facebook as a post. So it's right there. It should be up at the top. And I'm going to put the link in. Hi, Uzari. Hey, Liz. I'm going to put the link in here, and I think that it will show up on YouTube, but not on Facebook. So maybe one of you on YouTube, Brittany or Robin, if you could tell me if that link came through in the chat. Then that's the WhatsApp group where and what I'm thinking we'll do with that is just, that will be the place for the conversation about coming. So if you are in the conversation about coming, WhatsApp. If you don't want that chatter, either mute the channel, you can stay in, or you can pop out and pop in. That link is active anytime, and you can just rejoin if you're not in the conversation now. But we'll just make that about the conversation. Okay, great. Thank you. I'll make that about the conversation around the trip. Okay. And that will just be working out logistics, because here's what I'm thinking. I'll put it up here. What I'm thinking, you guys give me some feedback on this, is to open up multiple dates running. Basically, I'm going to think through the last part of July, or maybe we just make that first August date would be the one. And yeah, and I'm just seeing Flo is putting something in here. So we're going to talk about this in just a second because I think it's an issue. I sure do. Multiple dates for summer. So and then here's what I was thinking, and so let's just talk about this together for a second. Family chat. Group date would be that full moon weekend of August 11th, 12th, 13th, because the most who have said that they could come, it's kind of that's the good evening, Cheryl. That's the bulk of it would be that weekend. And then to just say, if you can't come that weekend, like one person had cheaper airfare the weekend before, or scheduling, I mean, we're all busy. Everybody's busy. So, I've kind of felt like it's a little bit of herding cats. So the thing is we can come when you can come, and then I would make myself available over the weekends. And mostly that's doable. I mean, sometimes I'll have radio client stuff, but if I know enough in advance, then I can block the day. So, I could make myself available, and it would be a hoot. That'd be a hoot for a few weekends, not for, till October. But what I was thinking is to do that for August and then do this because my birthday is the 30th. Michelle Noy's birthday is Michelle 21st, 20th. No, she's the 20th. So it would be that we would have a fall birthday bash in October. And of course, all that you see green will be every color under the rainbow and then some. I mean, it is the most spectacular sight. And that would be the October thing. So that was what I was thinking, was to do that. Now, let me just see here what Flo says. Because, COVID is a consideration. Fred had the Orlando event during a nice little dip, and it worked out perfectly. Well, we're not in a nice little dip right now. In fact, I've known more people in the last 4 weeks with COVID, just in the last month, me personally, that I know, than probably the whole pandemic prior to the last 4 weeks, 4 or 6. So it really is out there. All right. And like Stephanie, those of you who have listened to the Fun Astrology podcast for a while, and we had Stephanie Vickers doing the medical stuff. Well, she and her husband moved to Atlanta, and I mean, her life has just taken off, busy like everybody else's. And she hasn't been able to come back to the podcast yet. But she and her husband had COVID, and it was serious. They were sick, and these are mid-30s. They're in their mid-30s. So Flo is saying that she had it in May. It took 4 to 5 weeks to completely recover. Oh, Chris Brennan. I was listening to a Chris Brennan little podcast. I didn't get into it more than about 3 or 4 minutes, but he had mentioned that Chris is the guy that hosts and runs the Astrology podcast. He's done so much for astrology and Hellenistic perspective and has just made a brilliant career of it. Lives in Denver. And I've been to some of his meetings at the Mercury Cafe in Denver. They would have them on Saturdays, I believe, Saturday afternoons. And Flo is talking about having COVID in May. Well, Chris said that there was an astrology conference in May, and a lot of the people attending got COVID. So saying that it's hitting Flo's saying that it's hitting Australia hard. So one of the things I was thinking, now we can do outdoors, and there are little pavilions around. So there are a lot of ways that we could just be outdoors. That's number one. And why would you come here to be indoors? I mean, there is just no reason for that. So one of the things I was thinking, though, is doing it safely and having that part of our conversation. Awareness, not fear. The energy will definitely help protect us, but also I just want to be prudent and respectful. So that's how I approach it. I think Brittany's asking what variant. It's Omicron. Omicron has some punch to it. So, all right. Now, what do you guys think? Would you mind giving some feedback here real quick? And I will move on with the next part of this, I promise. And I even have a sheet here because there was so much going on. So I've done the other thing I was just realizing and acknowledging, this is kind of the other acknowledgement, is I understand about traveling right now. So to get here, you can come to Asheville or Greenville, South Carolina, are the two closest airports. They're almost equidistant. Then you can go to a number of the smaller airports. But why? I mean, if you're going to connect to Raleigh or to Greenville or Asheville, and then 3 hours to east, you've got Charlotte, 3.5 hours west, you've got Atlanta. And those are the hubs where you don't have to connect. So within all of that, the conversation begins of logistics. And that's where I have to kind of jump off because I don't have time. And that was the part of Sedona that got me sick toward the end. I had a little physical crash at the end of the Sedona, and I'm really determined not to go there with this. For those of you who don't know, since 2013, I've had atrial fibrillation. My dad had it. My Marson tune, my Mars, Sun, Neptune. Yeah. So I have to be careful. I am perfectly fine. I can go climb these mountains. I did this afternoon. I hiked up this one a mile. It's about straight up, but I have to be careful. So pacing is the thing. So my pacing is to just say, I think what would be the best thing is that if folks want to come on that full moon weekend, great. And like Flo said, we will figure it out and we'll do some fun things outside. And, and I mean, just us being together would be an event itself. I mean, I think there would be just that could go a long ways. So some light hiking and just some fun stuff like that. And then do the B part in October. So feedback on that. Okay. And see, this is the thing, like people are saying full moon howling. I love it. You know what we do? Okay. So there's Paula. October. Yeah. See, guys, we're taking this serious. I mean, I'm respectful of COVID. I'm not okay, Melissa's leaning toward October. See, I just want this to be safe and not fearful, but also not casual and cavalier. You know what I'm saying? That's my point. I believe that I have for myself, well, I've seen it. I saw it work in December when I got exposed in Dallas at my son's house and I didn't get it. So I've got a protocol that works really, really well. And I'm comfortable, but I'm not comfortable for everybody else, you know? And like Flo said, you get it, you're sick for a month, you scratch a month out of your life. I can't afford that with what I do. That's not something that I'm, going to put myself into. So I'm kind of getting from here. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's use some August gatherings to work out bugs, logistics, fall event, that kind of thing. So if it's like, if somebody wants to come and it would be much more intimate, much more together, not the group dynamic. So a lot more one-on-one time. And then we could exactly work out the bugs of moving around, food, eating, where are we going to eat? This is not the restaurant capital of downtown Chicago. Not at all. So we have to do that. How many people want to go to Asheville? How many people want to go to the mountains? Kind of two different things, not that far apart, maybe an hour and a half, but all of that we could work out. So, oh my gosh, mine too. Mine all day long. Yes. Who is this? I got to check over here and see. Oh, this is Cheryl. Man, oh man, oh man, has that been the truth? Wow. Okay. So, with that right there, no other questions asked. When you go in and you get a intuitive message, that's it. That's it. You just don't do anything else. And that's how you roll with this. So, all right. So what we're going to do, I'm going to open it up. WhatsApp is for the conversation around the logistics. So those of you who are saying October, pop out a WhatsApp. It'll drive you nuts, right? Those of you who want to try to come over the summer, jump in WhatsApp and we'll have a conversation and we'll work it out. And I'll make weekends available. And if we get a group, I'm still going to say, if we cluster, let's cluster around that second weekend of August. Okay? And we'll go from there. All right. Maggie Valley or bust. Let's roll on because Arnaldo has to get back in bed. We want to respect his next day. All right. So that's what we're going to do. Thank you for the conversation on that. And what if up? Hold on loosely. Absolutely. All right. So if you need those links, they are in the chat in YouTube. I can put it in here again, and it is a post in Facebook. All right. That's all we're going to do on the trip. Thank you very much for that. Now, let me go back over here and show you guys this, because this is crazy. Oh, yeah. Be sure to check this out. I think the last day is going to be the end of the month. So you got this week to see the big display in the sky. Oh, I need to put that in tomorrow's podcast, and I've already recorded it. Oh, maybe I'll go up there and do that as an addendum after we get through. So you've got all this show in the sky. Now, you're not going to be able to see Uranus unless you know exactly where to look. You're certainly not going to see Neptune, but they're in the line. And so you've got Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, Neptune, and Saturn all in the morning sky. It is going to be absolutely beautiful. And be sure to catch that if you are so interested. Now, how many of you had issues with your cars? Oh my gosh. Did you see that Toyota is recalling a car because the wheels fall off? And somebody else put in the post that another car some years ago did the same thing. So it's like, oh my goodness, what in the world is going on? Well, I thought maybe I would show you, let me see here what we're seeing Arnaldo's name mentioned in here. Let's see. Are we all going to go crash? Yes, we're going to go crash Arnaldo in Spain. All right. You asked me for that COVID combo. Well, now that I have direct contact, I can send it to you. How about that? It's complicated. It is complicated. All right. So here, I wanted to just show you this real quick. This is what I mentioned on that podcast on Friday. This is the United States chart, and I wanted to just circle this piece of pie. See, I put an arrow up here. The piece of pie that has the 3. Esmon, it is like once in 150 years. It's a phenomenon. Oh my goodness. Nail and tire last night, and then saw the post. See, that's Sarah's problem is cracked engine block. All right. So look here, the third house. So you take a chart and you think of a pie and you cut it into 12 slices of pie. The third slice of pie rules everything about transportation. And I know there's a lot of clutter on here, but basically what that is the inner chart is the United States birth chart, July 4th, 1776. And I know you teachers in the room, but it's rectified. Robert Glasscock has blessed it. So I'm going with it. Some people say yes, but the Declaration was actually approved and ratified on the 2nd, and then it went to printers and it wasn't signed until August. This date works for what we're doing here. And in that chart, the moon represents the people. Specifically, if we were to tip the gender of the people, it would be female. And right coming up on the moon, you see the moon is at 27 degrees, and then you see that circle with the arrow. That's Mars at 25 degrees, 44 minutes, so almost 26. It's a little over a year away from an exact aspect with the people. And I just, I don't want to go down the dark side of this, but Mars is aggression, Mars is problems, Mars is conflict, Mars is war. All right. Now, Mars is also moving things forward, but in mundane astrology, where we're talking about a large group of people, we're talking about a lower level of consciousness, and this is the way we tip the scale. And then sitting right there at the end is Saturn at 24 degrees, sitting literally right on top of that Mars. Now, that little blue glyph over there at the left that has 13 degrees above it, that is Uranus. And Uranus is sudden surprises, sudden accidents, sudden problems, sudden issues. So that's sitting there. Now, these don't move very fast. So what that gives you is the astrological picture that has presented some of these challenges. And what was interesting about this is that all of a sudden I get this message from a listener, and we did the Friday thing on it. And it was like, where did this come from? And then everybody just within 24 hours started piling on that topic. And I'm thinking, wow, so this is, the third house rules. I think I mentioned this. Everything about transportation, cars, tires, roads, everything. Flights getting canceled. My buddy Hemet not being able to get here. That's another one that we're putting on this list of around this whole thing, is realizing that if, what are you going to do if you get here and then we get stuck? I'll stack people in here, but it's not a big place. But I'll stack anybody in here that we need to. We'll figure it out. But, if you got held over. But this is the world we're dealing with right now. And this paints the whole picture. So Saturn and Mars have this malefic in ancient astrology. That's a pretty ominous sign right there. And none of this is moving fast. So this is part of what we're feeling. And this is why we're doing Healing Convergence, is exactly that picture of what we're doing. Now, tomorrow, just to mention one other quick little thing about the astrology. Tomorrow, Neptune, which if you look at, let's see, how am I going to do this? Okay, do you see the little, right at the bottom? That's the symbol for Pisces, and it's at 8 degrees, 52 minutes, all right? That's Pisces, right at the bottom. Just to the left of that is Saturn in Aquarius. Little squiggles, looks like pasta, looks like lasagna. And then to the right of Pisces, you see a blue-green glyph that looks like a pitchfork kind of, and it says 2526, and it also is in Pisces. That's Neptune. Now look over to the right and you'll see Mars again. You know what that looks like. So you see that Neptune is sitting right in between Mars and Saturn. You see how that is? Well, that just punches what's going on. And on Tuesday, the same day as the new moon, Neptune turns retrograde, starts going backwards in the sky. And that brings all of Neptune's energy internal. It brings it into ourselves, into our psyche, into our soul. And it also can do things like reveal hidden things, like secrets, surprises come out. It can confuse some decision making. It can also do what it did with Melissa. It can give you clarity. She said she went into her intuition and got an answer to come in October. That's Neptune's positive side, higher amplified intuition. So which side of it we align on? Well, that's which side are you living on? You know, it's like, what are you creating? I am so excited to get this book out. I can't wait. I am just so excited because it is like the encapsulation of everything about living this creative life. So all this stuff that's coming ahead of us is stuff that we will be able to create around. And yet, how many of you have mentioned right here that there have been tire-related issues? If anybody gets stuck in here, I will cram you in the sound booth. What that would do is make your flight out of here more enjoyable. I promise that. So, look, I know that a lot of you have had issues. A lot of you have had to change tires or do repairs or this kind of thing. But Sarah Wakeman, who is no stranger in our Facebook group and has just been such a precious soul. I want to call her my virtual daughter. I don't know if I've got permission to do that, but I feel that way. And she has just done so much in our group, and she's such a spark plug for conversation. Last week, her car died, cracked engine block. She said it was a Honda Civic. Gazillion miles, you know. But then her boyfriend's car, which I think she said was a Ford Focus, same thing. How crazy is that? So a friend had a real steep discounted Avis, I think, discount card, and Sarah was going to get a car for about a week on that card, and then she's going to have to figure it out. So one of the things that she's doing is putting all of her jewelry on discount. And I put some Sarah jewelry on tonight. So she makes bracelets and necklaces and just all kinds. This one has some turquoise on it and all this fun stuff that she makes. And she said she's going to just put it all out there and get it all on her website and her Etsy store. And she really, really, really did not want to ask for charity. She understands the science of getting rich. She understands an exchange of value, and that's what she was wanting to do. So if you have in your heart to reach out to Sarah in some way, she'll tell you what to do from there. You know, if you just say, Sarah, I want to help, what can I do? That would be the best thing. And we just love her to pieces. So, all right, let me get caught up on a couple of comments because I know there's one that we need to add to the list here. So Carrie's pet. And thank you all for your condolences to Carrie. All right, let's move to this. So now I put up, because Robin had sent me an email before we got started. This is her friend who lives in Cyprus, who was just recently diagnosed with MS, and she's in pain. She's hurting. And she said that she'd been fighting Lyme's disease for a long time, for years. So Stavri, and she goes by Lily, which of course is my second granddaughter's name. Kaipru, Lily Kaipru. or Stavri, if you wanted to pronounce her native name. So we'll add her to the list as well. But I thought what we would do is this little technique called game filming, and we're going to talk about game filming some love and even game filming successful things like successful trips and successful sales when you're selling things. So, I mean, this extends to literally everything. But here was what happened. So let me just want to catch up on my notes because I really had this blocked out of things that I wanted to be sure that I mentioned. Okay. So basically, this is a scenario where we're going to create in our minds some kind of situation where we could choose love over other reactions. I mentioned that I got some dinner last night. I was in an all-day class event. We were sitting inside all day and got out, and I was hungry and I wanted to walk around a little bit. So I went over to Waynesville, which is the town where we go to get groceries, and there was this restaurant that I knew was a local favorite, but I had never eaten there. I'd never gotten anything from it, so I didn't want to go in, didn't want to sit and wait on anything. So I ordered to go, and the time it took me to drive over there was about the right amount of time. So I got my food, and then I was going to go look for a park to go sit and eat and just be outside. It was cool, it was cloudy, it was wonderful temperature, and I was going to walk around a little bit. So as I pulled down this one particular street, I needed to pull in because I wanted to look for a place to go, not knowing the area that well still. And I pulled into a little parking lot and then looked on Google, kind of got my game plan, and then hooked around to come out of the parking lot. And it was just a little right turn and then another quick right to go back to the road. Well, there was one car there and there was a pickup truck coming down the way, but I had plenty of time to just ease in. And I got about halfway in there because the vehicle in front was just right there. Well, and typically up here, I mean, traffic is so chill up here that people just don't get excited or upset about anything. I mean, even in Nashville, it's a pretty chill driving town. Not him. Not Mr. Black Dodge Ram. He didn't like that I had pulled up in front of him like that and taken that. This was a red light, and I mean, it stayed red for a while. So he pulled. So I'm here. I've just, I've made this little right jog. Well, he comes in and puts his bumper that far from the car that's already parked there, right in front of me. And I mean, when he pulled on through, how he didn't scrape my front bumper, I have no idea. And of course, he was a friendly guy. He was really nice. He waved with one finger. And fortunately, the light turned, I guess, before he could get out because he was hot. This guy was mad. And that I just sat there and I looked at him and I was sending him love. And all I did was say, oh my, oh my, oh my. That's what I did. Now, let me tell you, there was a day that's not what would have happened. And, and obviously that's not a fun thing to have happen. But being in the space of non-reaction really emphasized this little technique that we're going to do, because game filming is all about rehearsing a response in advance. Same thing that professional sports teams and now high school sports teams do. They watch the films of the team they're getting ready to play, and they pick apart all of their offense, all of their moves, all of their defense. Who are the main players? What patterns do they run? What are their strong points? And then, obviously, what are their weak points? And then they put their plan together, and then they rehearse that plan over and over and over that following week before the game. Well, we can do the same thing. Fortunately, the class that I had been in was talking about diffusing difficult situations. So and then, oh boy, here's another point that is so prominent. Whenever you attempt something, whenever you set a resolution or you set an intention or whatever, um, the universe will come back and test you on that. So here I was in a space of diffusement, and I got to practice it. And I got to say, I did great. And what that does when you do it is it gives you the pattern then to do it again. Rinse and repeat, right? So what I felt we would do today night here is to we'll kind of get into our meditation part now. And so we'll calm down and quiet ourselves. And part of this will be coming up with something in our mind of a situation where we could send love. Like next time something happens, X, whatever X is, I am going to be love. Not send love. I mean, I'm going to be love down to my toes. Every fiber in my being. And this is in a challenging situation. I was really pretty surprised because, I've got Mars and the Sun and Scorpio and Neptune. Very easy. So here was just, this calmness to say, oh my. And the other thing I'm thinking is with all that's going on in the world, all of us are going to be experiencing that kind of reaction more and more and more as this angst continues to build. So part of it is just having a compassion for those who are not living conscious lives. There was a young guy, obviously he's successful enough to buy an expensive truck, and he had the whole look, he had the beard and he had the tattoos and the whole thing that's in vogue now. And I just thought, here's this guy, and that's his paradigm. He is so stuffed full of himself that he can't give up 6 feet of concrete in 2.5 seconds of his time. It's like, wow. And I realized that it probably is not even related to anything. He's just experiencing the chart that we looked at earlier. So there's so much coming ahead. And Neptune going into retrograde is going to amplify some of that. I talk about it tomorrow briefly and on the Fun Astrology podcast, and then we're going to talk about it more on Tuesday and maybe even into Wednesday. And, the other thing that is prominent in our world, and I hear it in random conversations around here, just not even initiating anything about drug use. And I know that that's in every city and town, in every nook and cranny of this whole world. And that's another Neptunian issue, addictions. So it's a good time to take a look at that in our own life, but also to realize that people during this time might be more influenced and reliant on their addictions, whether it's alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, tobacco, whatever, coffee, soda pop, sugar, anything, whatever is there that you have to have is something to take a look at, and be aware that other people, most of whom have to have, might be cranked up a little bit because of that. So it's another thing just to lodge in the back of our mind. How long does Neptune retrograde go? All the way into December. So we're going to be in this for quite a while. So let's think of something that we can create in our mind, that we're going to rehearse a little scene of seeing the event and then seeing it how we would normally respond, or how we would see it if we responded from our lower self. Like, what would our reactive self, our lower self, do in that situation? And we're going to flip it, and we're going to do it the other way. And we're going to practice in our minds, in the theater of our minds, we're going to practice sending love, because this is our response. You know, we started this in August. Amazing. And the whole thing was, let's just send love and healing energy into the world. So let's do it now let's bring it in from the macro to the micro, and let's bring it into our own lives. All right. So let's just settle in and take a good cleansing, deep breath, because we want to be in a really good space for this. Thank you for the time tonight to talk about these other things. And now let's do what has been so special for us here on Sunday nights. Grounding in ourselves, feeling even down into your solar plexus area, your root chakra, feeling stable and sturdy and set, firm, resolved, immovable, and yet relaxed. In fact, just kind of sweep your body from head down to your toes with a big shield of energetic relaxation. Just let it fall down this vehicle, speaking of vehicles, that we use to house our souls while we're here for this brief incarnation. We've been talking for the last couple, 3 weeks about I am. It's our human bodies that get uptight, but our I am, which is part of us, is calm and connected and is pure love. We have it in there, guys. We do. We have it in there. We just have to draw it out, because the vehicle is awfully prominent, isn't it? So just think of a scene that might show up in your life, or has in the past, that could again, expected or unexpected, that would be a point of potential conflict or challenge or upset, or where something is just needed. It might not have to be like what that was for me. And maybe it's just a situation where you could either brush right on by and not think about it, or you could stop and give love in the moment. Whatever comes to mind, but just think of that scene and then play it to the shadow. Intentionally play it to the shadow. You know, I could have slammed my Jeep into park, and I could have gotten out, and I could have gotten into some shouting match with that guy, and whatever. Shadow. Think of the shadow. I could have waved back. A lot of good that does. Come on. You get the idea, right? It almost is funny if you're laughing good. But think of another situation. Maybe you need to scramble it up. Where would you act from the shadow? See it, feel it. It is kind of hard to like, it's hard. It's easy now to laugh at it. It's not in the moment when you're in the reaction. You know, if you can feel the reaction, this would be more powerful. And when you do this later, feel the reaction. Like, I could feel getting really cranked up with this guy, you know? But now just breathe that out, shake that out, move your body, shake your shoulders, do some shoulder shrugs. A couple of deep little breaths to blow that out. Take it and good fast exhale. Move that energy away from you quickly. Now flip it. Give love. Focus on love. It's the highest human emotion. Give them love. And feel how good that feels, especially in contrast to the what we just blew out. It truly is the highest ground. Giving love to that situation, playing it in your mind. How does it feel to respond that way? See the other person reacting. In some of my walks, I've had dogs come out who were not on leashes and be a little bit aggressive, and I just stand there firm and I look right at them and I send them love. Love is emanating. I'm sending that dog so much love. Never had one do anything more than just turn around and walk off. Send love. This is something you can do in the future. But now, in that same space, think of Lily Kaipru. With a new MS diagnosis and how crushing that would be. And in her tears and in her pain, send her love. And think of Sarah and her boyfriend with sitting there looking out the window, cars that won't start, won't run, wondering what they're going to do. Send them love. And Carrie, when something that only gives us love leaves us after 8 or 10 or 15 years, it hurts, especially now. Send Carrie love. And then let's think of, even though we don't know their faces, but Scott and Sue, whose daughter, Erica, has anorexia. The difficulties of challenges like that. And this precious grandmother in Iran, whose family has faced what so many other families are facing or have faced over these last 2.5 years and can't go be with her. The angst of that is borderless. They're feeling it just like we would be feeling it. Send them love, that family and that grandmother laying in the hospital. And then others, maybe unspoken or not listed. If you have something, drop it in the chat. At least it puts it in the space. And let's do our grid. So through the evening, you've seen names pop up in the chat. There are others whose names have not appeared because they have remained just watching and listening, sharing. Think of some of the names you've seen and just start building a grid out from yourself with those people. Put one here and then connect another one there and connect somebody over here. Form a web, if you will, of these people around you, like a big circle around your energy, bringing them in and sharing energy with them now. One of the incredible things about these Sunday nights is people can get together and the energy is pure. You can share into it. You don't have to put a guard wall up. That's rare. So build that web, and then the faceless people who we don't know are here. Add them too, so that we are all connected. I like to put my hands on the computer. I am on a laptop, but if you're on a tablet or a phone, touch it if you can, if you want to. That further connects us. Maybe touch the screen some way or touch something that symbolizes the others. Maybe hand over your heart if that feels better, or your solar plexus, or your third eye. Lots of places of connection. But we're all connected. This is where the energy really ramps up. This is when people say they have a hard time sleeping. It's this energy right here. It's a beacon of light that goes from this connected space up into space, out into the universe. And I'm telling you, with all the certainty that I believe, that it is seen and responded to on the other side, out there, whatever that is. But it sees it, and we're getting it back, sometimes multiple fold. Feel the energy of others in the group. Let's be sure to add Michelle Noy's COVID and her pain from her fall or injury. And now all together, take that web that you feel around you with all those other like-minded souls. And let's create a giant beam of white light. Pure white, unblemished light coming from our I am side. And just raise it up into the sky. And let it go up and up and up and out. Feel what you feel. I'm feeling it being received. There's an energetic plane that is receiving it. Wow. Push it on out. Push more out. More love. More love to the world. More love to each other. And now, just to wrap this up, pull that massive beam that's going up and out right now inside to you. And just love on you. Because you deserve it. Send yourself love right into your heart chakra. Right into the pain, be it emotional or physical. Send it love to you. We haven't done this to close, but let's just do this together. Let's say Om 3 times. We won't do it so long that you have to take a breath down to your toes. Let's just make them short. Put a breath in. Fred writes in Levels of Energy that that sound is 700s level sound. Very high. Thank you guys. That was beautiful. As always, you guys are amazing. I get so touched every time. I was wondering tonight if I was going to be able to hold it together. I'm feeling it, feeling the emotions. And whenever we tie ourselves together, it's just incredible, isn't it? There's nothing like it. I haven't been able to replicate it during the week. It's a group thing. It's group energy. So thank you. Thank you. Hi, Stacy. Good to see you. Thank you for helping me. So I have tried for the last 4 weeks to wrap this thing up in 35 or 40 minutes, and I blow it by a mile. I'm sorry, you guys. I try. It's my intention because I know we got folks that need to go to bed and stuff, and you're up here, and thank you for doing this. So those of you that need to peel off, go ahead, and I'm going to just hold the space here for a little while longer. So those of you who want to stick around, we will. And if you need to go, then I hope you have a wonderfully marvelous week, and just send love and practice it. Practice it. And then you'll end up doing it and you'll go, wow, I'm going to do that again. Because it's just, thanks, Kristen. Thanks for all you do for us too. She has a precious family up in the Chicago area. Starseeds, good to see you here. Thank you. Thank you for coming. So, tingles. I was feeling it tonight, Melissa. I knew before. I was feeling really emotional about 20 or 30 minutes before we started, and anticipating this for, all day. I did get out and got a great hike in. Oh, that was so nice. Right behind here is a hill that replicates where everybody in Aspen would hike. It's called Smuggler Road. It's a dirt road, but it starts right in town and it winds up the side of this mountain, and it goes 850 feet of elevation over 1 mile. That's the Smuggler statistics. I've got that right outside my door. I mean, literally, universe knew exactly where I needed to be. And so I did that and a little bit more. I got a little bit more than a mile, but I mean, it's a nice, it gets your heart going. And so did that. And yeah, Cheryl, you mentioned this last week, and I just really, really appreciate that, to come back and rewatch this is quite an honor. So I'm glad that it touches you in that kind of way. That's powerful. Brittany, you are a precious girl. You see things that a lot of us can't. So don't worry about how it manifests for you. You just keep being yourself. You are so sweet. Thank you for always being here. I know. Wow. See, we should all go to Australia. Then we could do this on Monday morning. Perfect. It is just an unbelievable way to start the week. It really is. I mean, I know it gets us all in the right zone. We are coming up on a year. I'm going to have to go back and see if we can resurrect what date started this, but I remember it was in August. And see what we'll have to have a little party. Oh, we hadn't done that before. we hadn't done the Om before, and it just felt, I just felt it. And um, so I don't know, it just was there. Glad it touched you. Brittany, I don't see everything. It's just because I'm, focusing on other things at certain times. So if you want to re-ask, this is our little chat time. It'd be a great time if you have a question. Be happy to. Yes. So it will be on the recording, Rogue. It will. And why don't you just watch that? And let's see, you're on Facebook. Rogue, if you if you listen to this and then go on Facebook, right before we started, I dropped a link in there to the WhatsApp group where we're going to have the conversation about coming for those who are coming in August or before. We opened up some more dates, so you'll hear about it when you rewatch. I don't want to regurgitate it all here because we're just kind of in this energy, but yeah, if you just watch that, you'll get everything. And then if you get in the WhatsApp group, we can just communicate straight up one-to-one. Okay. So you can answer anything you want. I know, it's like Brittany is so special. And she posted that beautiful thing that she wrote about why she's in a wheelchair and what life is like for her. And it just, wow, touches my heart. Here is Sarah's shop link, and that is several places in the Facebook group. It's not in the YouTube side for those of you coming from YouTube, but if you want to screenshot that or something with your if you want to screenshot that with your phone. She's on Shopify. Petra Cork KC. Petra Cork KC. If anybody else needs that, just let me know and I'll put it back up. Wow. That's a Mercury retrograde thing. Wrong planet. Wrong planet. I don't know. That's strange. Yeah. Neptune retrograde, we're talking about on Fun Astrology tomorrow. I did not mention your mom. Your mom is not in the physical, if I remember right. COVID restrictions lifted. Yeah, I'm not sure where on that. So maybe drop in the chat if you're willing to share something that you game filmed. Just, a real quick little thing. Something maybe that you game filmed for how you were going to send love this week. I'd love to see what some of them are. Brittany's post is in our Facebook group, which is Subconscious Mind Mastery and Fun Astrology Podcast Listeners. It's on Facebook. It's a long title, but I think you said that you're not on there, right, Robin? Some people create little just dummy accounts to come in. So, like Esmond doesn't have a photo. Esmond hides. Esmond doesn't have a photo. So it's fine. Totally fine. And you could just create Now, my friend Chet did that, and he didn't engage with anybody else. He didn't get any other friends, and Facebook kicked him back out. So it's like you might but if you wanted to join in, it's a wonderful community. the Discord we started about the astrology podcast, and you guys have a great conversation going on there. I mean, it is so cool to see how that thing has just grown into, wow, so many different little sub chats, and everybody's contributing so much. I mean, that's a very active conversation too. But some of the folks who are in here, like Michelle, I think you said you might be in the Discord, but some people are in the Facebook group side and some people are in the other side. But that's where Brittany's post was, and probably about 6 weeks ago. So you'd have to scroll down there a ways, but you'll see her little logo that like that. And so, yeah, Brittany, I was thinking about that as I was reading your write-up too, that because I mean, she was your support, and I totally get that. And like with Melissa, who just celebrated her first year. And I say celebrated because it is a transition of homegoing. But it's hard for us down here. The one that I've been struggling with is my friend and was one of you. He would have been on here tonight, Mike O'Sullivan. And I think about him often. Yeah, you can make first name is High, High, last name Energy. The Discord rocks. I mean, Kristen has just done an amazing. I handed her a pile of straw in a basket, and she's taken that. And I mean, it had died because I just didn't have time for it, and she has revived it to what it is. That's amazing. So, oh, here we go. My family member sends snarky, low energy, annoying texts. Yeah, we've talked about this, haven't we? Won't take it personally. We'll reply with only positive love. Okay. And look, it's not like this Pollyanna thing of like that guy, that situation. Yeah, it bothered me. I mean, I reflected on it. It wasn't a happy moment. So when somebody sends you a snarky text and you have to read it, and then you have to do something with it, and you have to go, I don't know. It's just there is something about that response for me yesterday that was a paradigm shift. Like it was so giving the guy love and so not even going into a space of reaction. I mean, the guy pulls up and I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it was so totally unexpected. And all I could do is just say, oh my. Oh, I was having compassion for the guy. I'm like, if that little space of pavement is so important to you, namaste, friend. I was like, I really feel sorry for that guy. Didn't cost me anything. I was just driving around after a long day and, inside. Window was rolled down. I was happy to be tooling around. So that's great. Oh, this is a big one. Yeah. I am really struggling with this, guys. Cheryl, since you brought it up, and since it's a big part of what I've expanded into, the new podcast that I've started could very easily, I'm talking about the Robert Glasscock Astrology podcast, could very easily tip into politics. And I am absolutely determined that that's not going to be the case. But we did have a listener question not long ago about the upcoming, well, she asked about the the past eclipse. She was born with her, she was born on a full lunar eclipse, and that was what she was asking about. So Robert answered that. And then I kept pitching him questions, and we took a look. I mean, the natural progression of the conversation was, well, then the one in front of us in October, and it's a partial solar eclipse. So that does take a little bit of the energy down, but it's a solar eclipse in Scorpio. So you got the sun and the moon together in Scorpio. And the next one that comes a couple of 3 weeks later, in this case, 12 days, 2 weeks later, is 13 days, is also Scorpio Taurus. And that's the US midterm election day. Well, there you go. And one of the things that Robert has kind of, I don't know, made a signature, at least with some of the Kepler stuff, is a political class looking at the politics, looking at that United States chart and dissecting everything that's going on around it. And as I've been working on this book and really pushing here at the end to get the book finished, I'm sitting in the space of total creation. You know, it might have been, actually, it probably was working on the book and then being in an afternoon class of, or where in the afternoon they were talking about basically diffusing difficult, challenging situations, that might have been why that space was just there, you know, was just so easy to slide into. Now it's going to be a pattern. Like I'm going to become like, I can replicate that. That really sank into my consciousness. But I was realizing with the other that there's no creating in that. You know, here I am putting this book together about holding your thoughts, holding the space of your thoughts, and putting that, as Wallace Wattles said, into formless substance, God, the universe, source, I am, and the co-creating process of bringing that to fruition. And it's like, you know, when you sit around and gripe about the news, there's no creating in that. I gave the illustration Saturday, I guess, of Joseph Kennedy, President Kennedy's father. And I know there's stuff around that. I know. But during the Depression, he tripled his net worth because the story is, and I don't know if this is true, but the story is that he was getting his shoes shined one day. And the guy that was shining his shoes said, "So what are you doing in the stock market? You putting money in the stock market?" "I'm putting money in the stock market." And he got out of that shoe shine chair and he went to the broker and he sold everything and got on the short side of the market and stayed there while it crashed. And the story was, when everybody down to the shoe shine boy is talking about putting money in the stock market, run, right? Well, he did, and he was right and stayed with it. And I don't know if that's how it came down, but that's, you know, that's a published story. So I've been struggling with that, related to even that podcast of being in a space of, you know, that I don't want to be talking about stuff that is not creative. Not on one of the distinctions in the book is the creative plane versus the competitive plane. Perfect example, that story that I told. That guy was on the competitive plane, competing for that little bit of space. We operate on the creative plane, whole different animal. And the mentality of the creative plane is, if that little piece of space isn't available, there's miles and miles and miles of concrete around here for me to put my car. I'll just find one of those. You know, it's like, I don't care. I could have turned left. I could have backed up into the parking lot. I had no agenda. I was driving around. Wasn't hurrying anywhere. He must have been. So, you know, it's just a matter of, do we create? Okay. That would be a good subconscious mind mastery podcast for sure. You're right. Not your issue. Oh, okay. Thank you. August 22nd. Okay. I'm going to go dig up the date. Okay, good. We'll look a week before that. I don't know how I could find it because I typically don't. Oh, there you go, Robin. That right there is precious. That touches my heart. Oh, that is so sweet. Brittany, thank you. Oh, melting me here. Okay. Sending love into a challenge. See, we've had two now. There's two with relationship things. Brittany, you are so welcome. Brittany, I think you're going to have a new friend in Facebook. I don't think so. I don't think so. Fred and I may have talked about it on one of his interviews, but I don't think so. I don't think we have. We sure do. Lots of love. All right, you guys, you are amazing. Thank you so much. This has been so much fun. Oh. Well, for all of us who can't sleep, I guess we should just leave this on. Anybody have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom, come back, we'll just leave it on. There's this guy that is on TikTok that I somehow stumbled across. He's a financial planner down in Georgia, probably in his 40s, I'm guessing, late 40s, maybe early 50s. And it's funny because he wears two pairs of glasses, which I've done before I got these progressives. I know exactly where that man is coming from because he's got his glasses for the long and then he puts up. So he's on TikTok. He's got his white earbud things on, and he's standing in front of a shipping map because he talks about the shipping stuff, the boats that aren't coming over from China and et cetera. But he answers good questions, and he's got a big following, and he has good things to say. So I typically park on him for a few minutes when he pops up, and he's always on from 10 p.m. until midnight, like I think maybe 7 nights a week or 5 or something. And he just answers one question after another. And I mean, people are just going, as you know, throwing questions into the chat like this. And he comes back and he tries to answer. He tries to pick through them all. And all he does is just answer questions, answer questions, answer questions. So we could. The multiverse. Oh, I've heard about that movie. What did you think? Halfway through. Thanks, Robin. We'll be in touch. See you in Discord and hopefully in Facebook. Thank you for being here tonight. And I hope that Lily feels some of the love that was sent her way this evening too, for sure. Oh, okay. So anyway, that guy. Yeah, you know, Brittany, I don't have that, and everything that I've done from subconscious mind mastery has always been from personal experience. There were a few people that we've done interviews with that were not, that just came in, and I was like, oh, that would be interesting. But it's rare that I don't have some kind of personal connection with everything that's been on that podcast. One of the reasons why the episodes are random is I do it when I have a message that wants to come out. You know, that was the way it started, and that's the way it still is. So sometimes there are gaps, and that's, I'm just okay with that. So I don't have experience with that directly, so I wouldn't be able to speak to it effectively. I mean, I could parrot stuff, but it's not what we do. So, oof, 2 hours. Now that doesn't happen. You'll have to tell me about it. All right. Well, you guys are so amazing. Thank you so much. This has been special again. And I hope you have a great week. And we'll see you guys next Sunday night right here. Right here. We'll do it again. That connection. We're going to have to get to that connection quicker. We'll do less business next week and get to that meditation, because that's the juice. We don't want to do that for 10 minutes and then talk about other stuff for 40. We're going to do that quicker. All right. Love you too, guys. Thank you so much. See you next week. Have a wonderful week. Neptune retrograde, new moon on Tuesday, and then one little tricky square on Friday, but we'll cover it all on the podcast if you're interested in the sky above. All right. We'll see you. Bye-bye.